Hi, everybody. This is Angelique. Nice to see you. So I had a download, and I always trust my downloads, that I had to do this special dream job edition. Why? Because the first download was do a quantum experiment. And then, these money constellations and business constellations came out of it. And then, of course, at one point, the love constellations, because as I was interviewing people, a lot of people were talking about the lack of manifestations around love and how stuck they were. So right now, I've seen certain people manifest jobs very quickly, just basically using some of the things that I told them to do, and just having one chat with me. And others are, still, let's say, a bit wobbly. So seeing that, of course, I know what's going on. I thought, okay, let's do a presentation and really teach people step by step how they are creating their reality. So those of you who have seen my other webinars, you know this slide. This is from The Science of Getting Rich. This is the book that turned around Rhonda Byrne's life. She has, if you watch the interview with Rhonda Byrne and Brian Rose, you will know how much she turned around just reading this book in 45 minutes. And when I listened to chapter 4 of this book, I couldn't sleep all night, because chapter 4 of the book talks about creation from the fifth dimension, or creation from the infinite field of potential. And of course, I knew a little bit about it because Dr. Joe taught us that. But then when I found out that The Science of Getting Rich was teaching the same stuff, I thought, oh my God, this is really the reality. So there is a thinking stuff from which all things are made, and which in its original state permeates, penetrates, and fills the interspaces of the universe, including us. A thought is not neutral. A thought in this substance produces the thing that is imaged by the thought. Man, you and I, all of us, can form things in his thought, and by impressing his thought upon formless substance or the field of infinite potential, can cause the thing he thinks about to be created. So this was like, when I heard this on one of the YouTube channels, it was the first time that I understood it, and literally I couldn't sleep all night. My whole body was like so electrified by that this was the reality. And I thought this is not just something that Dr. Joe made up. This is like ancient knowledge, and my body just recognized it somehow. And then, of course, I started, because this was the time when I was studying with Bob Proctor. And Bob Proctor is all about Napoleon Hill and Think and Grow Rich. And Andrew Carnegie is the guy that actually commissioned Napoleon Hill to write Think and Grow Rich, interviewing all the multi-billionaires. And Andrew Carnegie is a self-made billionaire as well. And he said, any idea that's held in the mind is either feared or revered, doesn't matter whether you like it or don't like it, love it or hate it, will begin at once to clothe itself in the most convenient and appropriate physical forms available. So having said that, we are a quantum field. So, but most of the time we feel like a victim, and we don't take responsibility, or we don't even master how we are creating this field. So we are left to act like victims, think like victims, and get a lot of evidence of being a victim. And if you really start to look at this, then you need to wonder, I'm studying all of that, I'm seeing all these people perform miracles or so-called dream manifestations, what's going on with me? So I want to talk about how I manifested my own dream job. So if you apply it to the formula that I have, you will understand at what point I could manifest my job, and at what point I wasn't manifesting my job. And then you can also look for yourself, what am I doing? So I started thinking about a dream job when I was actually working in Amsterdam. I was working in Amsterdam, and I was in an energy healing course, which was very, very coincidental. This was an English woman. She was teaching energy healing classes. And I was thinking, because all these weird people came to me when I was a tax lawyer, all these weird people would come to me and say, you know what, you have healing hands, you have healing hands. I would be in a club, somebody would come to me and say, you have healing hands. I would go to a psychic because I wanted to understand whether psychics were bullshit or not. And they would say, you have healing hands. And I was like, what are healing hands? So I found this woman that was like a professor. She was doing a PhD somewhere in the Netherlands. She was a British woman. She healed herself from a very specific disease doing energy healing. And now then she trained with the Barbara Brennan School. And then she was teaching her own courses. But the only reason I went to her was because of all her academic credentials, because I was so skeptical. I had a really thick mind that was rooted in 3D. And but when I followed her course, it was just like, okay, this woman studied with Barbara Brennan. I read the book. I don't understand it, because when you read a book about energy healing, it doesn't do anything. You actually have to do it, right? You have to undergo the energy healings, and you have to be in an energy healing class. And so during the class, we were just teaching healing technique. She was teaching us how to clear our energy, our chakras, and go into hara or an intention, and also how to basically lay our hands on people's fields so that we could, heal, give healing. So at that time, I was receiving and giving a lot of energy healings. And I realized that I was very psychic. Yeah. So in the beginning, of course, when you're doing healings, you think you're making things up. But then after a lot of like coincidences, you realize that you're actually picking up things from the people's field. And then you think, oh my God, this is real. Yeah. So little by little, my skepticism started crumbling. And at the same time, while I was in the course, she was asking us to script, and I didn't know what she was telling us to do. She was teaching us the Abraham Hicks placemat process. I didn't know that. She never said, when you write these things down, they're going to become reality. All she said was, I want you to upgrade your life. I want you to think bigger than you can think. So she literally said, imagine that you think you can have this. Imagine that you could have this. Yeah. Imagine that you can have 4 times more than what you think is possible. And so I started really thinking about that in my life. And I realized, I will tell you, I started getting upgrades in hotels, in planes, like crazy things would happen, and I would be upgraded. It would happen all the time because I was traveling quite a lot. And so I realized only later, after I manifested a job, that what I was doing was a placemat process of Abraham Hicks. I didn't know what I was doing. I keep saying she never even mentioned the word manifestation. So though that word wasn't in my world, I didn't have friends that talked about manifestation. So I was just doing the placemat process, scripting about my dream life in London, because that came as a download. I thought, well, would it be fun to have a job in London? And very without knowing what I was doing, I sent my resume to a few headhunters. And then one of them contacted me. So although I didn't know I was manifesting, I was a very good student. So I was just writing out all the details about my job in London. And because we're talking about an upgrade, and I had a lot of synchronicities with upgrades. I mean, one day I will tell you about all the crazy upgrades. They were really fun. I was not limiting myself. So I was saying things like, I am wining and dining the top C-suites executives of the global companies in London, in top prestigious venues. And lo and behold, I actually, in the first week of my new job, which was an amazing job, they were the #1 in the UK, they were the new kid on the block, the challenger brand. They really allowed me to almost tick the box of everything that I wrote on the list, including going to prestigious venues like Claridge's and the Ivy, all these really like exclusive places where I was basically hosting, as a part of the team. I was sitting next to the chief marketing officer or chief financial officers of, companies like, the big tech, or all the companies that are on our computer screen all the time. And so I realized that nothing is impossible. But before I had the role, I was just scripting. And so I believe what I was doing was I was connecting to the quantum potential every day. And even though I didn't know I was connecting to a new quantum potential and creating it day by day, I did it, but I didn't know what I was doing. So, and I think my energy healing field was being expanded and cleared from a lot of self-doubt and lack of self-belief. The other thing that I did was I became more playful. So as I was going on all these job interviews, because I was invited very quickly, yeah, I felt a lot of love for London. I mean, I loved London, and I just fell more and more in love with London. So there was a desire there, and I became more playful. So when I was traveling at the airport, I would walk around these beautiful shops, and I thought, well, I have this really old suitcase now. This suitcase already 6 years old, like this little, like, work suitcase. It was, I had a beautiful work suitcase I bought in Hong Kong, but when I was traveling to London, I saw a beautiful Italian one that was really expensive. But I thought, I'm going to buy this because I will need this when I'm in my new job in London. So I did that, and I put that beautiful suitcase in front of my, front of my room, so I could see it every day. And I was like, I was living in Amsterdam. I was like, that's what I'll be carrying around when I go to new clients in London. So, and when I was doing these job interviews in London, I met up with a lot of my London friends. And at one of these days, I literally asked all of them to sit around the table. This was at a dim sum place somewhere in Soho. It's a very prestigious, like, Chinese dim sum place. And I asked them to all imagine that I was living in London and that we were having an amazing time. I treated them for the dinner. It was like, I'm not sure it was Michelin star, but I think one of their branches had a Michelin star. It wasn't cheap, but I was feeling very abundant. I wasn't feeling broke, and I wasn't feeling in lack. I was feeling very abundant. I said, hey, I'm going to treat you all, guys, but please help me hold this vibration of seeing me living in London, and that we're doing much more of these fun things that we've been doing together. So having said that, I was interviewing before Christmas, let's say summer, autumn, and then Christmas came, so nothing was happening. And I was getting very impatient. And then at one point I started scripting with a feeling of lack. Yeah. So first it was fun. I was playful. I was hopeful. And at one point I was in lack. I was like, oh, I really want this to happen. Why didn't they get back to me? I had so many job interviews as it was a booming market, but nothing came. And you know what? After a while, it only came later. And I'll tell you when. So what was happening? My picture plus my emotions. Imagine that we always manifest having a picture in mind. So what is predominant in your mind? What are you holding in mind? Do you have a job or do you not have a job? Are you single? Are you dating, or are you just meeting Mr. and Mrs. Unavailables? It doesn't matter. You have a predominant picture or image in your mind, yeah? And that's your picture. Nobody put it there. You're the one who put it there. So we have to take responsibility for that. In combination with our vibrational set point, that becomes our manifestation. Yeah. So what started happening was when I was waiting for the dream job, I started getting impatient because, it takes time sometimes for recruiters to get back to you. And very often people don't really hire around Christmas time. I started believing, oh, it's too good to be true. And I was starting to feeling the lack of it. Yeah. So anybody that wants a job that starts feeling lack of it, they're going to maybe, create a delay. Let's say that. Let's call it a delay. So, and your vibrational set point dominates. So if you do not, even if you have 100 vision boards, or you have 100 mind movies, or you keep looking at your dream picture, but your body and your predominant vibrational set point is feeling impatient, feeling lack, feeling separation, feeling, I need this job, why is it not happening? You're not going to manifest it. So this was what's happening over Christmas time. And then what had to happen? At one point, I was really desperate. I really wanted the job and it wasn't happening. So what did I do? I gave up. I gave up wanting the job. I said, I'll be happy in Amsterdam, because I was actually, when I was upgrading, I saw Amsterdam as an inferior place to be, as opposed to amazing London. Yeah. So I started devaluing my vibration of Amsterdam, and all the experience of these beautiful roles and beautiful companies that I've worked with, they were not good enough for me anymore. So I started going more and more into lack and separation and depreciation of my experience and all the gifts that those roles gave me. And so I remember at one point I was doing my scripting again, but it was coming more and more from desperation and need and not having it, almost too forceful, right? I remember that I was so desperate, and I was dating a guy then in London that was a super Mr. Unavailable, by the way. It's another story. Also one of the reasons why I wanted to go to London. I actually was sitting there and I told myself, Angelique, if it never happens, I'll still be happy in Amsterdam. I started appreciating Amsterdam, and I started saying, I'm going to be happy and love Amsterdam, make the best of my life, even if I never get the job in Amsterdam. And you know what happened? When I did that, very soon after that, all these recruiters came back to me. They want you in for a second interview, third interview, they're hiring. Before I knew it, I manifested 4 job offers. And it was only after I started loving Amsterdam. I decided I didn't need this job in London. So this is the letting go process that I didn't even know about, but I was living it. I was living it. So I can look back and tell you the best state to be in all the time, not just when you're manifesting a job, all the time, is to have a positive pictures, to hold in mind only positive pictures, to give gratitude in advance, like I was doing when I was with my friends, treating them to a dinner, and to have positive expectations, whether you get the job or not. Yeah. So it's not positive expectations only about this job or this relationship or this specific thing that you have in mind. You have positive expectations that life is good, that you can trust life. You can trust life to take you wherever you need to be. And when we are there, we can have positive manifestations no matter what happens. But the issue is, of course, that job and money is a big program for most of us. Yeah. So, and we're living in quite a challenging time right now, with a lot of collective pendulums of lack and scarcity and fear roaming around. And so what we do in the Creation is Already Done game, we connect play and joyful accountability to eliminate the victim and separation consciousness, because we are not victims. We are not living life by chance. There is no fate, there is no luck. It's just the application of law, whether we know it or not. And what we do in the Creation is Already Done game, we give you joyful accountability, because we're not talking about thought creates. Very often we have a thought, we meditate for an hour, or we meditate for 15 minutes, or we script for 15 seconds. And then during the day, we go back into the lack, into the desperation, into the neediness, into the fear. Sustained thought is the power which can produce tangible riches from the formless substance. So, so I created a 6-week program with 18 sessions, meaning each week, 3 sessions of 2 hours, where we're going to take you through the releasing. We're going to teach you how to release on the split intentions or on the desperation you might have around money, or about believing that your dream job is too good to be true. And why do I do that? Because I've done this with many people, and mostly my friends, and I've done it very successfully. And also, for those of you who believe in constellations, I was doing a constellation, a money constellation for a big group of peers. And in the constellation, somebody was representing my recruiter and executive search experience, and that person felt very powerful. And I thought, yeah, Yeah, that's a reminder of me. I feel very competent and like in 100,000% certainty when I step into my headhunter's, perspective. And so when this download came, I said, I feel absolutely no doubt that I can help people in this area, because I've seen it happen multiple times and I know how to do it. And I've done it for myself almost like without knowing what I was doing. So I can actually teach it. So what do we do in life when you're looking for a job or you want to manifest something? You are observing the bubble of what you created from your current mindset, current set point of consciousness. Because you created it, you're looking at it from your 3D glasses, and then you go back, you project that again into the 3D into the formless substance. Formless substance then creates a reality that informs your vibrational set points of feeling. Either it's lack or disappointment, or I don't like this. And then boom, this is the loop and the prison of the five senses that most of us live in. And it is very important that you see it as a prison of the five senses, because if you read chapter 4 of Science of Getting Rich, 3D reality is an appearance. It's not even reality. It's just an appearance. Meaning it's your projection, it's your movie. And a lot of people, they understand this conceptually, but they haven't owned it. Yeah. And what I've seen and noticed in my years and years of studying and being in all the retreats and being in all the courses is that it takes time to actually allow yourself to have so much power. But what I can say is when you're dealing with this stuff, we are going into a world right now where we're manifesting quicker and quicker and quicker. I don't know whether you've seen it. I've noticed it. The more that you realize it, the more that you see that time is quickening. Time lag between your thoughts and manifestation is happening quicker and quicker. You fear something, it happens quicker. You want something without attachment, it happens quicker. Yeah. So, and it is because the collective consciousness is increasing. So, do you really want to stay in this world where you're not mastering your body, you're not mastering your mind? So, and those of you who study all the different, all the different teachings, because we have a lot of people that study a lot of different teachings, most of them acknowledge that infinite possibilities exist now, and we can align with it. And then we know that it happens, and then it comes to us. Yeah. So it's not like there is a finite amount of possibilities and you just have to hope and pray that you're chosen and that the God gives you permission or something, that you have to win the lottery to actually know. It's up to you. It's up to us whether we can draw that quantum potential closer to us or not. And how do we do it? We basically let the desired outcome become the picture of our mind. So this is the training. You train yourself to be in the new picture, and you train your body to be in a state of oneness, to be in a state of wholeness. So whether this picture happens or not, you're grateful nevertheless. Dr. Joe calls it, your the inner reality is more real, is so real that you're not even looking for it on the outside. And also you are one with it. And so you're not separating yourself from this future manifestation, whether it's a job or a project or your company or a relationship or your health. Yeah. So and I don't think I have to convince all of you, when we are creating undesired manifestations and you look at the David Hawkins scale, you can be a detective and look at which trance states of survival emotions are you living in. Because unless you have crossed the threshold of taking responsibility, which is the critical step for every successful person, and you haven't gone into trusting, this is neutrality here, 250, and you haven't gone to accepting that you might get the job or the manifestation or not get it, and you can still live with it, you're still, for a big part, living in a state of survival. And that's completely normal. because I'm still releasing on wanting safety. I'm still releasing on the news and all the things that are predicted to happen with the banking system and the economy, etc. So what I can say is that the more and more that you release the lacking safety feelings, the lacking control feelings, the more and more you are able to hold that vibration of alignment and wholeness. And the more and more you see beneficial outcomes of any situation that you might find yourself in. So instead of being in the trance and not even knowing that you're in a trance, it's very important that you recognize the trance, you release the emotions, you cross the river of change, you become the caterpillar in the cocoon, as we say. It's going to be uncomfortable because you have to battle the resistance in your body. You have to battle reality, and you have to battle, you know, this thing, what you think is who you are, to become the new butterfly. You have to become a new person. And the way that we do it in the Creation is Already Done game, we have a format. We make you play games, and we make you take joyful accountability that you choose, so that you are changing your vibrational set point every day. And we do it in a group, at least 3 sessions for this specific class, because I think this class will be like a game changer for a lot of people that are in a lot of still a lot of wobbly states of being. And it will help you really shift around your vibration. So we know this when we're in a trance, we create from let's say disempowered states of being. Our mind isn't very tuned in to the field. We're just regurgitating programs of lack and not having, and powerlessness and helplessness. So what we have to do is we need to recognize them, wake ourselves up, the refractory period, what Dr. Joe talks about, keep it short, go into state of creation. And that is how you train yourself time after time to be a deliberate co-creator. What we add in the Creation is Already Done game, we give you a framework of being in a group, being in a specific forum, and I'll show you the forum later on, is where you inspire yourself, because every day you're reinforcing the new knowledge that you are the field, you are a deliberate creator, you are powerful beyond your own program. Your program is nothing compared to the future self or the infinite self that you already are. And you, instead of being in the trance, you play and you start dreaming about the new job. You start daydreaming and you share it in the group. And you do that so much that it becomes more and more you. So what we're doing in the Creation is Already Done game, we give you a framework of accountability and homework and group meetings that will allow you to change your neural network. Yeah. So because when you master the mind and you get out of the trance, you go and connect it with your heart, you will literally master your destiny. And you're already the master of your destiny, but maybe you're an unconscious master, and you're mastering it from a low level of mastery. Maybe you're like, let's say you're not aware of the whole, let's say it's almost like you have a book with instructions, but you only read the summary and you have a faint idea of what you're going to do, but you haven't practiced it yet, you haven't gone to the examination yet, and you haven't put yourself to the fire and to the test of, yeah, actually I want to do it and I'm going to do it. So yeah, very simple. Do you need the program? A lot of you don't need the program. Some of the people, I just told them what to do and they create a job within 1 week. And I have many testimonials of that. But some of you might have more split intentions, or may need a bit more help to actually go into the state of creation and to also change the neural network. And this is what the game is created for. And so when you change your vibrational set point, because at one point, this part of you that is radiating heart and brain coherence and alignment and wholeness and gratitude for nothing, gratitude just because he or she is alive, that person is magnetic and things drop in their lap, as they say in the release technique. Yeah, they think a thought and it comes to them. And some of you always think, oh, how come these people are so lucky? These people aren't lucky. These people are just living in this state. Yeah, and I can tell you that it's really like you've gone to a retreat and you're You've meditated for many, many hours, and then you realize, you think a thought and it happens. You don't have to wait for a retreat. You can do it at home, and you should be doing it at home. You should be doing it at your company. You should be doing it at work. So, so what are we doing? We already had a little class where I taught us how to look at the emotions that we have in our body and to welcome it with love. Instead of being stuck with the emotions, we welcome it with love. You know, I will link the video of that specific teaching under this video. So watch that video if you want to learn how to welcome fear with love. It's actually quite easy, but if you don't know about it, you could get stuck with it. And of course, if we know that everything already exists now, everything, the only thing that you need to do is you become a vibrational match with wholeness. Wholeness meaning you have everything, you are everything, you're not separating yourself from it. And you can only do that when you do no longer think and identify yourself with a human being. The human being form is just like an avatar role that we play. If you really know that you are divine and that you can command time and space, you can bend time and space, that state of gratitude and honoring of yourself, when you can really step into that, then you really start to see how you are affecting the world. And so recap, most of the time we're living in a trance. Our brain isn't even functioning, but we just believe the programs of the mind. They're all about separation, scarcity, lack, competition, fear. I can't do it. There's only problems. There's no solutions. I'm helpless. We have to master these states of alignment, and they're pretty new. They're pretty new to us. You know, I haven't mastered it in all states, but I am going there because I'm committed to it. It took me many years, and I'm now seeing for how many years I was stuck in victimhood. Even though I knew it, I was still not making the choice to completely be a master because I didn't have to. And most of us, unfortunately, only start to empower ourselves in a time of crisis, and I am no different. And so I would say that we live in a time of crisis right now regarding economy, because I am studying trading. And if I look at what they're telling us about the future, it's bleak. And I am no longer letting those states of scarcity consciousness affect me. This is why I started doing the money work again, the money constellations. And this is why I feel when I can create this specific game for people who need it, I will be empowering myself, but I will be seeing many demonstrations of people getting out of the collective pendulum of the economy is going to create a lot of depression and recession and whatnot. I'm not going there, because if I really want to live up to this fullness of who I am, I don't have a choice. Meaning, I would rather be wrong about being an infinite creator than believe all the things that are fed to me in the news. Yeah. So I refer back to the video about welcoming feelings with love. That is the first step. It's one of the first steps you can do. I explained also in that video that I have combined it with fast EFT principles, which is what they do is they revise very heavy memories that have become the core of your neural network of something that is causing a lot of pain and distress or a lot of powerlessness in you. So let's say you feel a lot of fear around safety, and money and jobs are so connected to safety. When you are releasing, you might suddenly come to a memory that is not even associated with now. Could be associated with something you witnessed from your parents. Could be something in your school that happened with a teacher. Could be something with, you know, a brother and sister. And if that memory is causing a lot of distress and it created a whole belief that you know, something you want is not possible, we have to revise it. And we do that in fast EFT. There's a certain way of doing it. And Neville Goddard talks about it as well. He actually says you should do it every day, revise everything that you saw, because you are God and everybody is you pictured out. And I found that when I did it, around my love life mainly, the charge around these memories were completely gone. And I look at these memories, and actually I only remember the loving memories that I revised. All these negative memories about betrayal, around lack, around, relationships aren't safe, they're no longer there. It's as if they were a past life, and the new memory is of, what has happened between what I remember about my childhood. It has no longer has the hold on me, and from that basis I could really come into this aligned self, because as long as these memories were in me, I could practice, recondition myself, go to 10,000 Dr. Joe retreats and releasing retreats and do fast EFT. But those memories were still there as an evidence that it wasn't safe. So this is why they say in fast EFT, you have to revise it. And so this is some of the things that we teach you to do, and that we do as a group, and we help you as well. So some of you have also seen in one of the last sessions how I do it interactively. I invite people in the group to embody energetic states of being of the issue holder. And if we have time for that in this course, we'll also do that, because they're very informative and they're fun. And very often we have a lot of laughter around it as well. So just to go back to the job manifestation, a lot of the time it creates a lot of stress. So forgive yourself. Yeah, it's daunting to have to go into the web and find all these jobs and feel that you are one of the 300 applicants, right? Yeah. So, but I can tell you, I know, as a person who worked as in executive search, and I'll tell you, in executive search, we only work with C-suite, meaning I'm only assessing people for director roles, CEO roles, chairman of the board roles. So a lot of people are rejected. I'm talking about, if I have 500 CVs, I probably will only talk to 20 people. So I know about rejection, and I know why I reject. So I can tell you what you need to do, so that the recruiter or the person interviewing you will understand you're the right person. But this is not what we're here to discuss today. I can only say that when you are coming from desperation, it doesn't matter how good you are, the recruiter, the interviewer, they feel it. They sense your lack of self-confidence. That is not a good state to be interviewing or applying roles for. It's really, you need to get out of it, because they can smell it, they can feel it, and it comes through. So anybody who is applying for roles in this state of mind, who doesn't know how to master their emotions, it's going to affect your the way that you're perceived. And when you have been in the other side of the table where you are interviewing people, and let me ask you, would you hire somebody that you felt wasn't really confident, that was really needing the job? Or would you hire somebody that knew they could get any job because they're powerful? Wherever they go in, they will solve the problem, or they will find a way. I've told this many, many times. Whenever I was like a headhunter and I had to find this one CFO for this global company that was such a difficult company, and then, oh my God, this one person had 4 job offers. So I had to pray and beg that they were going to accept the offer of my client, because otherwise I would be back at the drawing board again. I can tell you, I was always wondering, how do certain people get 4 job offers and all these other people are rejected? And these people they're masters and captains of their industry, but there was always one that got like 4 job offers. I figured it out. The people getting multiple job offers were the ones that were somehow, they knew how to be in alignment with their true self. They didn't think about themselves not being enough. They didn't doubt. They had a trust in life. Yeah, here, neutrality. They accepted that even if they didn't get the job, they would create something. And when they got into a job, they accepted all the challenges and all the problems, because they knew that they would find a way to resolve it. They weren't coming from a part of them that was resisting it. or wanting it from lack or resisting certain challenges. They accepted all of it. They were so accepting that they were super successful, and there was a state of consciousness around them that made people feel like this is the guy, this is the woman, we need this person. And that is why they got all these job offers. So, and imagine that this is not about a job offer, but this might be you being a freelancer wanting a project, or you might be somebody looking for funding for your project. It's the same thing. If you're coming from a neediness and you're coming from this, please pick me, they will feel it, and it's not attractive. It doesn't instill confidence. Yeah. So again, what do we need to do? We need to train ourselves to be here. So I would like us to write out for you guys here. Can you write out a goal that you're working on? And so we'll take a 5-minute break, but I want you to write out a goal that you're working on, and it should be stated in the present tense. So for me, it is, I allow myself to work at a perfect role for me where I'm valued and rewarded for doing what I love. And then I write about the job. The job is so fulfilling. I go there with love and excitement, because that is actually what I manifested. I always said, I'm going to this job with love and excitement, even when I go on holiday. When I come back from holiday, I'm so excited to see my colleagues and my bosses and go back to my projects. I never manifested, oh, I'm going to the job and I don't want to be there. No, I manifested, I go there with love and excitement. And, you know, this is a Catherine Ponder phrase, I receive perfect pay. I receive perfect pay and I live an abundant, successful life with ease. Yeah, with ease. So take 5 minutes. I'm going to stop the recording, and please allow yourself to state a goal that you're working on in the now. And then we're gonna take it step by step. I'm gonna stop the recording for a while. So to go back to the question, do we have to settle? Do we need to settle? Settling comes from limitation. You have to ask yourself, of every thought that you think, which part of the mind is asking that question? If you really study the teachings and you see people manifesting, let's say, even huge, like we're talking about millions in terms of, let's say, inheritances, and they weren't even in the line for the inheritance. And these people didn't know where the money was going to come from, where the manifestation was going to come from. Then you have to ask yourself, how am I limiting myself? The only reason I was with the release technique is because this specific school, because Lester Levinson had many students, but this specific school had a lot of financial testimonials. And that is where I had a lot of pain. I started my own business. It was a download, start your own business. I also had a boyfriend then in Spain. I didn't want to be in London. I wanted to be in Spain with him. So I gave up my job, had a lot of panic attacks. So although I was trained in all the schools, my body was in fear and I didn't know how to, and I really went to the release technique because I had to train myself out of the panic attacks. And it took me a long time. There was a lot of fear to be released. But as I got lighter and lighter, I started building up my own courses. And then at one point, Henrik and I started working together. And we had a thriving community. And that community gave me all my clients. And that was just a download. And again, so I can only say to you, settling is not necessary. All you have to do is go into the higher mind, go into the destiny or the fate that you were born with, because that is already there. You were born to achieve certain things, and sometimes certain crises catapult you to do certain things so that you can step into these things quicker without you even knowing why, but you will actually really feel grateful for it. So I want you, if we go back to the last slide, I want you to think about what are the feelings and thoughts that come up, and maybe just write down the feelings and write down where they are. You know, maybe it's impatience. I'm hoping it comes, but I feel a bit fearful. I feel wobbly, you know. As long as you're wobbly, you're not in acceptance, because in acceptance, you are accepting that you won't even get the job, right? But I can tell you, if our body is in fear, we are not ready to go here. And this is a process of teaching you how to get there. So you have feelings coming up and you have thoughts coming up. So it is very important that in the release technique, what I found very helpful is that I could see that although I was feeling these emotions, panic attacks, I could separate the emotions and the feelings in my body with what I was holding in mind. What they teach in the release technique is a fundamental, very helpful thing, is don't try and change the picture. The picture is coming from the recording and playback machine of the limited mind. So you don't try and wrestle the mind, because it's just a recording and playback machine. You don't give it that much credit. You do what you do is you realize what you're holding in mind, and you realize what you're feeling, and you let go of the feelings. So what they always say is you don't release from here, you release from the neck down, which is your feelings, the lower chakras. Yeah. So what we do in the release technique is we teach you how to, and the same with fast EFT, you release the feelings and then you look at the pictures later on. So I want to ask you, if you look at your feelings and your thoughts around your goal, you will know very quickly where you're coming from, just looking at the feelings, because you're either still in the state of survival when you're in the trance. The trance makes you feel like a victim and powerlessness. You're coming from the mind still, so you're rationalizing. So you're saying, oh yeah, so many people got fired, or, you know, it's a banking crisis, tech crisis, you know, blah, 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 the central banks, whatever it is, you're still coming from the limitations of the 3D. Or you have split intentions. Part of you wants the job, part of you doesn't want the job, part of you doesn't want the goal. Yeah. And we've seen in a lot of the constellations that split intentions are real, and split intentions are very powerful, and they hold you back for years. You could also be in resistance, meaning the job that you want to create is too good to be true. Yeah. Or you could have a lot of justifications for not moving forward or not even applying for the role. You know, you just might feel too stuck. Mainly, I think the people that I know, because they're beautiful souls, they're empowered souls, they just don't know how to recondition their states of being to be in that higher state of mind, because there's so many techniques out there and you just need to be lucky to find the right technique. So whatever it is, if you are feeling less than it's already happened, I feel empowered to have this, allow yourself to know that, you know, you can literally change that. And so one of the main important teachings from the release technique is that when you're in a trance monkey state of mind, you're operating from lack and separation. But what you do with a goal is you look at all the attachments to it and to all the aversions to it. And when you look at the aversions, you look at the hidden messages in your body that said, nah, it's too good to be true. Why would they hire me? Why would somebody want to work with me as a coach? Why would somebody want to date me? I'm too old, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, too wounded, too needy, blah, whatever. So attachment is you want it and it creates a sort of needy, clingy feeling. And aversion is like very hidden. It's more hidden. It's like, not sure. Even aversion could be, if I have this beautiful goal, something might happen that I don't know about, that I can't handle. Yeah. And in the opposite is you're whole and complete. In the higher state of consciousness, you're whole and complete, and you're not really thinking about lack or attachment and aversion. You're okay with both. Most of us are not trained to be there. Most of us are very, very in the prison of this. And sometimes we don't even recognize it for years. And even when we recognize it, we're not letting go of it because there's no crisis to force us into that. And I can talk very openly about it because I was flabbergasted to look back and see that for years and years and years, I was just working on abundance. I was never working on my love life, which was then seen in my love life. And only at the biggest crisis in 2020, I was willing to take responsibility and to learn to trust and to apply all the teachings, because there was so much resistance to taking responsibility for my love life. So forgive yourself if you haven't had a crisis to gently nudge you into taking your power back. Sometimes it takes that much time. Yeah. So what is very important is I want you to look at maybe your goal again and to see what vibrational set point you're in. If you're not if you're still in wanting and lacking and you haven't manifested it yet, and you're not in complete confidence that you have it, what you can do is you can really start to isolate this specific reality as a picture that you're picturing out as a cartoon bubble. Yeah. So for me, I find it very helpful to see myself thinking of a cartoon bubble, and I put a picture in there and I keep looking at it thinking that that's reality. I have 3D reality glasses, and I'm completely in the picture and I don't even know I'm thinking it. Now we're breaking that trance. Now we make you aware that you are the one creating that cartoon bubble, and you're putting yourself in that position of lack, and you're conditioning your mind to a state of being of lack. So this is one of the ways that I work with people in releasing. So there's 4 steps in the way that I found that is very effective. First, you need to clear. You need to clear the states of survival. You need to clear the thoughts and the beliefs and the feelings. And clearing the feelings is very powerful. And clearing the states and training yourself to align with the higher mind is step 2. Because if you don't do that, you keep identifying with all the programs. You need to start identifying with the greater mind and the infinite self. And then you need to keep on creating this new thought, the new thought of the new picture of your ideal business, your ideal clients, your ideal self in a great relationship with the world, with a perfect partner, a compatible partner, great job, an abundant world. You're doing what you love. And then you will start seeing that as you do that, you will receive more and more downloads because you're playing, because playfulness is not in the state of mind where you're in crisis. You're never playing when you're in a state of crisis because your body doesn't feel safe to play. So when we're giving you assignments to play, you literally shift to another neural network. Yeah. But it is very effective because we're also clearing, and you're learning how to clear. So I want to talk about some of the testimonials of the people that I work with. And some of you already heard this in this other webinar that I gave. So one of the people was there, and all she did was, she is in the release technique for several years now, I think. She was already releasing on a job, but she was not feeling it. Most people, yeah, to be honest, right? Would you choose to have a job if you would be financially free? No, so no. She was still having conflicting intentions. And because of that, she was, creating all these job interviews where she wasn't excited. And so I had a conversation with her. I said, why don't you fill in this PDF? And I want you to really think about your dream job. And why would you even think about, I'm going to go there with resentment. I'm going to go there because I have to. I'm going to go there because we needed to pay the bills. No, I said, why don't you make this an amazing job where you literally like going there, and just go out of your mind and start creating the job that you want. And it took us one conversation to shift her mindset from, I'm creating something that I don't want, to actually, wait a minute, hey, snap out of the dream. Maybe I can create a job that really I get out of bed and I'm excited to go there. I come back from holiday and I'm like, hey, I'm going back to my dream team. Yeah. And I've had those jobs. So I can say that's absolutely what you can create. Why would you even settle for anything less? So after listening to me, she filled in this whole PDF that I gave to some of you. And because she was already releasing, she was releasing with another releasing partner. Within the week that she spoke to me and she filled this thing in, she had an interview with a company that she didn't really know about, but they were amazing people. They were really nice. And then within a few days, they offered her a role. They didn't pay her what she wanted. She left a message for me. And I said, you're not even going into negotiation. You're just going to say to them, I cannot accept the job offer. Why? Because you have all these other jobs lined up that will pay you X. So it's not a negotiation. You're just stating your value. And if they cannot match it, they need you more than you need them. You leave and you start manifesting this other job. Do you know what happened? Of course, they gave her X because that was her value. And I can tell you as a recruiter, it is so hard to find the ideal candidate. It is really hard. From the 500 applications, maybe 2 are good enough. So you need to understand how good you are when you are trying to apply for a job. You need to know how good you are, how much value you have to offer. And when you really combine your alignment with your skill and your commitment and your love of the job, you are magnetic. You are sitting there and you will outshine all the other candidates that are still doubting. They're still not excited. They're still like doubting themselves, or they're not really sure about this job. If you really know that you're going to create the right job, you are sitting there interviewing them. You understand? This is a technique I always gave to everybody. It's like, wait a minute, why are you going there in a beggar's position? This is the same with dating. You're not going there to beg for somebody to be in a relationship with you, to call you back. I did that for many years, by the way, it doesn't matter, but you know, I'm learning from my mistakes, right? You are there to interview whether there's a match and you have value to give. When you are in alignment, you know your value, you're not questioning it. This person was already clearing. She was getting clear about what she wanted, and it happened within a week. I told you, and you've seen the testimonial, my friend and I, he was struggling getting projects. Nobody was calling him. He called me in Hong Kong. And during the constellation, when he was writing down his intention, he was so committed. He was so committed. There was no split intention anymore. The recruiter called. And then when we did a constellation, it wasn't even about a job. It was about his alignment. And we were working with the archetypes. Within that week, he met an amazing man for a 4-year beautiful relationship. This man was like not a settled type of candidate. He was like a founder of a company. This was like a dream man, you know, like the type of partner that you wish you would have. He manifested that type of relationship. So I can tell you there are certain people that literally can do it, and even without clearing, or because they're clear themselves, or they're more in alignment than in resistance, they can manifest these jobs within like one session, one like peak, one time filling in the document that I gave them. My brother was the same. I told you the story. He was in the banking crisis in Hong Kong. Everybody was out of a job. He was out of a job for a year. And I tried to respect his privacy, not meddling, not being the big sister, trying to fix him. But at one point after a year, and it got worse and worse, I said, okay, we're going to fill in this PDF. And I'm not even sure why I created the PDF. Maybe I created the PDF because there was a crisis of a year and I had so many people coming to me. And I just said, okay, we're not going to let this go on for too long. We're going to sit together in a cafe. And I dragged in another friend of mine who was in the financial banking sector as well, a Kiwi guy, and my cousin. And they were all filling in this document to align with the perfect job, and all of them landed the perfect job. And my brother had a lot of problems with the banking sector where he could see his children. He was always coming back home late. And I said, well, why don't you then put in that you're going to come back home on time? And lo and behold, he manifested a job where they told him, don't come to the work too often, you know, work from home sometimes. And 5 o'clock, go home and work. And he was like, well, what is this? And I think, well, it's because you created it, right? But that is very uncommon to the banking sector, I can tell you, especially in the sales roles. and also the derivatives type of sales sector that he's in. So I told you about my friend who was pregnant and who didn't want to take a role at a 40% pay cut after the crisis. And I said to her, well, let's do a constellation where you connect with your new employer. And she connected to it within 2 days. All these recruiters started calling her back with the salary that she wanted. Yeah. So one person that was in the constellations of another person, she's not here right now. She told me that after she attended some of the constellation workshops as an issue holder, not as an issue holder, as a representative, she suddenly started seeing jobs in her email that were offering the salary that she never expected to have for that region where she was living. So these were salaries that she only expected if she were to move to London, but she doesn't want to move. But now she suddenly was seeing these jobs appearing in her inbox with the salaries that are right for her without moving, offered her remote working possibilities. And she was saying in the 16 years that she lived in the UK, she never saw these offers. Yeah. So I'm asking myself, how is this possible? This was just happening after we did constellations about the perfect job, right? So who knows? You know, I think maybe we did shift something. I know that one of you here, you know, just after doing a constellation and connecting to the quantum potentials, you suddenly had people reaching out to you, recruiters reaching out to you. And this is a sector where there is the thought of the tech crisis and people are not hiring, but you still had people reaching out to you. And also you also manifested something else with an insider in a company that you wanted to be recruited for, being now in that company, being able to maybe put you in contact with these people hiring. So these are very, very positive things. Sometimes we just need to let go of trying to control it. Yeah, things happen in the way they unfold, but us being in the vibration of having it is very important. Yeah. I also told one of my family members who was really young, she just came out of the university, that she could create her ideal job. Because of course you're coming from university, you're like, oh, what am I going to do? She had no experience. I said, why don't you write down what you want? I feel grateful for it. And she is a very, very, actually a very, I think, right brain type of person. Or is it left brain? Left brain, I think. She's in finance. She now runs her own hedge fund. She basically, as a graduate, you know, really started just imagining her new job, giving thanks for it. And she was hired by LVMH, and she was doing all the publicly quoted mergers and acquisitions as a graduate. And then within a few years, she was like running her own hedge fund. I mean, I have never seen anybody as powerful as her, but I can imagine, I remember her as a graduate, not feeling secure. The only thing that I said to her is like, dream, create the dream job. Don't even think about it's not possible. Yeah. So I can only say that sometimes you have beginner's luck. These people have never gone to a Dr. Joe retreat. They don't even read the books. They don't listen to Dr. Joe on YouTube. You tell them what to do, they do it, and they don't have doubts about it, and it happens. Yeah. So so what I want to say is that if you really start to understand that you're powerful, that everything is possible, then the only thing you need to clean up is the attachment and aversions. So if you now look at your feelings and thoughts about your goal, I want you to think about maybe how is your mind wired? Because in the release technique they teach us, your mind is a creative instrument. The only problem is the mind is like a computer. It's only a recording and playback machine. And most of the time, our mind is in the prison of the five senses. So if it's not there yet, we cannot pretend and feel happy about having it because our mind isn't feeling safe. So what are we doing? We're creating, being a vibrational match with not having. So one of the most important steps is to go to 350 here. Because let's say you don't have that job yet, or you haven't created this stream of clients yet, you are wanting to change it. But imagine that if picture creates your reality, you are resisting not having a job, or not having the stream of clients, or having to look for a job, or having to be interviewed, or having to make offers to clients. There's something that you're resisting. And so whatever you resist, resistance is holding in mind what you do not want. So you're creating what you don't want. They also teach us wanting to change a situation is disapproving of it. And disapproving of something creates resistance. And again, resistance creates what you don't want. So one of the big things they do in the release technique is they ask you to let go of wanting to change a situation. So let go of wanting to change the situation that you're in. Let's say you are without a job, you still are applying, you're still waiting back for calls. Let go of disapproving of that. So, and if you can, whatever you're disapproving, just try it out. There's this thing, something is going on that makes you want to create something new. But like me in Amsterdam, I was disapproving of Amsterdam. I was like, I don't want to be in Amsterdam. I don't want to work for this company. I want to go there. As long as you're disapproving of the situation that you're in, you're vibrating lack. So you let go of disapproving. So can you allow yourself to release the feelings of disapproval and allow them to leave your body? And so instead of disapproving and resentment towards the situation, you give it approval. What I found really, really helpful is the picture of the image of me in holding my heart, and a lot of love coming out, and just this radiance coming out of the heart. And sometimes I just hold my hand to my heart, and I feel the radiance of the connection to my true self, and I can accept everything that is, even the situations of crisis, even the things that give me panic attacks. So moving quickly to the state of acceptance and not wanting to change something, because if you're holding in mind that this situation should change, you're holding in mind that it's not changing, right? So if you're holding in mind, I'm looking for a job, you keep creating, I'm looking for a job search, looking for a job. Client, I need to find clients. You're looking for clients. So, and when you're resisting it, you are creating, you have a picture plus negative emotion, you're still creating it. So instead of being stuck in the mind, the release technique teaches you how to get out of the mind and to move into acceptance from a place of alignment. And if you can try it, just try it now. Just move into acceptance of the situation that you're in. No matter what it is, just allow it to be. And just allow it to be. And give it approval. And send it love. And send it even more love. And let go of wanting to change it. It's absolutely perfect as it is, and it can shift in one split second. But it can only shift when you can come from a place of complete acceptance and love. Lester Levinson has a quote, and it says, when the love is complete, the problem dissolves. Very often we hold in mind problems and we wrestle the problem and we keep creating it. What if the answer was love? So let's love this situation that you want to change. And love it even more. And accept it. And if you can see when you love it and you accept it, it becomes less of a struggle in your body. Your body is lighter. Could you raise your hand when you say that your body is lighter? Just by doing it, yeah. Your body is lighter just by loving, going into the heart and loving it. So you're already learning how to dissolve pictures, yeah? So we're going a step further. So one of the things that is a key principle in the release technique, and I would say it's the same with Dr. Joe, but it's maybe they don't make it such a big rule, but you know, Dr. Joe talks about it a lot, but in the release technique, they give it to us in a different way. They talk about the 6 steps. And the 6 steps is that no matter what you do, you need to keep in mind the 6 steps, but I would say you only need to know number 1. And in the release technique, before you release, they all teach you to say, I must want imperturbability more than I want approval, safety, and control. And to me, the word imperturbability was never nice. It never sounded connected. It wasn't connecting me to source, because from the metaphysical teachings that I come from and all the psychic healing world that I come from, it just sounded a bit like too mundane to me. So my preferred version, maybe you have a preferred version, is I want alignment with my infinite self and truth with a capital TRUTH more than the trance states of lack and separation. So everything that you do, even while you're creating a job or a perfect business or a perfect relationship, you choose alignment with your true self more than wanting to believe that you're lacking because you haven't created it yet. So when you put alignment as the top goal, you can let go of the neediness and the clinginess of the goal. Yeah. So imagine when I was in Amsterdam and I suddenly realized I was no longer coming from lightness, and it was hurting me because I was really in desperation then. I was like, no, I was set. I was beating up myself. I was disapproving of the situation. I was impatient. I was operating more from these beliefs than I was in peace and wholeness, right? So they say your top goal is your top 1 priority in life is to align with your true self. And I have a picture here of a person that is in the void, is in the higher mind. And I can tell you, those of you that do a lot of energy work, it's so easy for you to go to the higher mind. So the only thing that you need to do is stop yourself when you go back to contraction. You feel your body like shifting into states of lack, and just stop it in the moment and tell yourself, my top goal in life is to be aligned with the true self. And then you're in the higher mind. And there cannot be this feeling of contraction anymore. Yeah. And so what do you do with all the feelings that come up? Because all of us have a lot of feelings. And I was struggling with panic attacks for a long, long time. And I had also, you know, in my love life, I had a lot of insecure attachment. So I was always fearing abandonment. It was like huge reality for me. And I kept creating it as well. So I always never felt safe, though there was a lot of lacking safety programs in me running. But what they were teaching us in the release technique is all feelings want to leave. So you don't hold on to the feelings thinking, oh, they are me. What am I going to do with them? All feelings want to leave. So feelings come up, you release them, you let them go, and you will notice that as you let the feelings go, you have a quiet mind. And the more quiet your mind is, the more you're in connection with your true self and the higher mind and the greater mind. So also, everything is your picture, everything is your movie, yeah? And more importantly, you are a master. You are masterfully creating this, but very often we don't want to take responsibility. And then we give our power to the prison of the 5 senses. So you cannot not create. So the only option we have is to master the mind. So what are the 4 wants that create lack? So look at your goal. So we want, very often when we're in the lack and the state of survival, we want safety, big one for most of us, specifically with money and jobs. And we want approval, very often more in relationships. Sometimes also a job or a business goal is all about approval. I want the client to love me. I want this employer to love me. I want my family to love me. Literally, we're coming from lack. If they don't give it to me, I feel I feel disapproval. You want to control. Feeling out of control is very big. So we try to manipulate, coerce, other people instead of looking at ourselves. And you want separation. So there's things that you don't want, and you say, oh, that's not me. Ugh, I want away from it. So I want you to look at your goal, and whatever feelings whatever feelings come up as a predominant vibrational set point, which want is very prominent. Yeah, look at the goal and really realize if there's any wanting safety, so lacking safety, lacking approval, lacking control, and lacking oneness, yeah, you want to separate yourself, you don't want to take responsibility for it, those are the things you need to release. So let me know that can you raise your hand if you have identified which one is the most biggest one for you, so that we can continue. So mostly it will be wanting safety. Wanting safety is very big with money. I think relationships, maybe also wanting approval. And imagine that you want approval, you're not even giving it to yourself. Yeah, so we have to realize in the trance states of our mind, our limited mind, we think the approval has to come from outside. We think safety has to come from outside. And if we know that we are an infinite creator and that we can shift timelines and change boxes, then we have to understand that we only need to shift the states from lacking to the states of having. And that is by training our minds and training our bodies. So when you feel the feelings, it is very useful to know which of the four wants you have. Most of them will be safety and approval, and sometimes it's control. And control is you want to change something because you don't like it. Yeah, like me judging the news, judging what's happening in the world. It's wanting control. I feel out of control. But when you want control, you're lacking control, and you go back into 3D world where you don't have any power. So again, the reality of fear is only real when you do not understand that you have the power to project thought and that the universe will respond. And so why would we hold on to it? So let's look at the attachment. Maybe write down, what is your attachment to your goal? Because attachment means there's a feeling of lack. You might have an attachment to the goal, which is, I want this job because I need the money. It's wanting safety. I cannot pay my bills. I'm afraid of that. I would say that's wanting safety. I have panic attacks. It's uncertain. I want this job because it makes me feel certain. It's wanting safety. It's wanting control. So what we ask you to do is feel it in your body and let go. Just allow it to come out. Don't let this attachment block you from being a vibrational match to the goal. Feel the feelings, realize that they're there, and just let them go. Maybe you think there are no roles for me, there are no clients for me, there are no compatible soulmate partners for me. Wanting approval, maybe, let it go. You see how the mind comes up with 1,000 I cannots and limited possibility. And in the release technique, they're very strict with it. Anything that comes from the mind, the release technique will ask you to drop it. So people that want to talk about the mind, they don't really get a lot of airtime in the classes. And in the school that I was in, which was led by Larry Crane, and I'm listening now to my old classes of 2014, and they are actually hilarious. They're very funny, because you can see people wanting to describe the whole movie of what they created, and then they want to release on it. But the teachers won't even allow them to do it. They just say, do you understand that you are holding on to the movie and you're not taking responsibility? Can you drop the movie and just release the movie that you created, but go to the feelings that you have, release them, and then you will see the movie is less real. Yeah. So when you have attachments to a goal, release the feelings. They're not serving you. On the other hand, you might have a hidden aversion to your goal. And we've seen it in constellations, yeah? Because there is somewhere a split intentions. But if you know about your aversion, And it could be that you're holding in mind the stress or the drama of previous roles, right? Clear that, because you don't have to create that again. You don't want to be rejected maybe when you're by clients or by the interviews. You're really resisting rejection. Just let those feelings go. And if you can, welcome rejection. When you're welcoming rejection, you're welcoming stress and drama, you go to acceptance 350. And if you can do it from the heart, you go to love, and you will see that these trance states, they start to dissipate. They start to lose their stronghold. Yeah. Some of us are very talented. We're not sure we want a job. We maybe want to start our own business. Those people, they need to maybe let go of that. They are disapproving of the job or disapproving of the stream of income that is coming in right now. And the big solution is let go of the feelings and start accepting that it is what it is for now, until you've become a vibrational match to a new situation. Just love what you are doing, what you are having to do to create the money right now, and don't disapprove of it. Don't be in a place of resistance. So are you all clear about attachment and aversions and how to find them? Can you raise your hand? Yeah. So you can see that if you have attachment and aversions, you're not creating, you're just stuck, you're neutralizing, You're neutralizing whatever it is that you want to create. The quantum field is getting like a really weak picture, right? Because your vibration is more in the attachment and aversion of not having this dream, ideal vision that you have, yeah? So, and the thing is, the great thing is, the more you do it, the more it becomes natural. And actually what they teach us in the release technique is do it all the time. So I have trained myself to do it while I'm working. I do it while I'm in the shower. I do it while I'm cooking. I do it while I'm having an argument with somebody. If I'm upset with my husband, I'm releasing. I was like, okay, Angelique, get out of this, get out of this. You have a program here wanting to argue with him, but let go of it. And very often we hardly ever argue. It's just like, because I am getting out of my own way by releasing. So it's very important that the one thing that I understand is sometimes it's hard to observe yourself in a trance, but if you're feeling feelings of discomfort and feelings of, I don't like this situation, it's very important that you observe yourself from this state of mind. So you need to find a memory or create a new anchor of being in this powerful state of mind, of being connected to source and being in the present moment. And some of you might have experienced it in a walking meditation. Some of you might have experienced it in another meditation retreat, or maybe just at a blissful state of moment when you felt very victorious and powerful. But it's important that you make that anchor almost like the main set point of your beingness. Because when you go to these trance states and you can quickly shift to this part of you, then you are catching yourself in the program and you can release it, yeah? You're not allowing it to stay in your body. So you're in a constant state of releasing. Another teaching that's very important that a lot of people don't like, and you might want to argue with it as well, but I can tell you that, you know, I don't think we have a choice but to acknowledge the truth of this, is that a lot of people talk about programs, but we don't really understand, but we still think, oh, the mind is helpful for some parts and for some parts is not helpful, yeah? But according to the distinction they make in the release technique, the nature of the mind is that it actually is just a recording and playback machine. So imagine that it's a computer program, and whatever you have witnessed, so let's say problems with money with your parents, or lawsuits, or divorces, or, you know, traumatic events from ancestors regarding money or business, that went into your recording machine. And because the mind is a creative instrument, if you have to know that all the thoughts that come from the program, from these recordings, they are actually just sounding like, I cannot do it, there must be something wrong with me. So you're beating yourself up. You are doubting yourself. You're doubting your dreams. You are in the trance states of mind. So we're in the lower states of consciousness. You only see problems. There are no solutions. You're operating like a robot. Yeah, on automatic. Your mind is an automatic and your body is an automatic and you don't even know it. So you're always feeling lack and wanting, and you're criticizing yourself, you're judging others, and you're blaming yourself and others. So what they teach us in the release technique is discriminate. And discriminate is not like discriminate other people. Discriminate your thoughts. Where is this thought coming from? And the most important thing is, if you know that this thought is coming from a program, you have to know that the mind cannot figure it out. The mind, that is the program, cannot figure it out. The only solution is to connect with the greater mind. And the greater mind is downloads. The greater mind is, you know it. The greater mind is like psychic intuition, yeah? So on the level of the programmed mind, from the things that you've seen, witnessed, and believed and experienced, even your panic attacks and even your depression or your resistance or your victimhood or your identity, they're all construct of the mind. So this is a big part of the release technique, let go of figuring it out. So we are trying to get you to a state of a presence where you have a quiet mind. What does it feel like? I can tell you what it feels like. It's like the third day at a Dr. Joe retreat. You've meditated for 12 hours, maybe 16 hours, and you literally start thinking, I'm not thinking. I'm just here. I'm just noticing this glass. I'm just noticing if I think of something, it happens. I'm just listening to the music. That is where you can go to if you keep on releasing and you're no longer attaching to the mind and making it real. So there's a process here where they teach you how to catch yourself going back to the mind and going back into the prison states of embodiment that the mind tells you to be in. And that could be a panic attack, that could be in a desperation, urgency, a place where you're beating up on yourself or where you don't believe in dreams or possibility anymore. Yeah. So the release technique, they ask us to evaporate and dissolve the mind. Can you imagine? I struggled with that for a long time, but now I understand it because I can see how my mind is driving me crazy. So there are exercises where they ask you, look at your mind, look at that program that is running your mind, and can you just evaporate and dissolve it? And maybe that is not really clear to you yet how to do it, but I'll try and explain it in another picture. So this is really a huge amount of information coming from Lester. And those of you who understand Dr. Joe, creating from the fifth dimension, change the box teaching, all the teachers, the secret, it really is about everything you think creates. So let me read this, and maybe I couldn't make it shorter, I'm sorry, but I think this is very important. The prime obstacle that we meet is the subconscious mind. It is full of thoughts of limitations that propel us every day automatically, again, like a program. And we have made these habits of subconscious thoughts so strong that even when we recognize the direction we would like to go in, like we want to go to where we want, the subconscious thoughts keep directing us for quite some time, even lifetimes, until we finally succeed in overcoming them. Yeah, this is all what everybody teaches, right? We overcome them with thoughts of what we really want to do in life, and in that way become matter over the mind, controlling the thoughts until only the thoughts that we want determine our behavior. But that is a process, yeah? Then we're in a position where we can do something about the mind, and we start to transcend the mind. We rise above it and we drop it. We let it go. And when we do that, we find ourselves this pure, infinite, limitless, totally free being that we naturally are, and then happiness is complete. The direction is to go within, not to try and control the outer world. Seek and meditate to quiet the mind enough so that we can see the infinite being that we are. The major steps are first becoming aware of the fact that we are master over matter. So really train yourself to know, I am master, I am a master. In the release technique, they keep saying, if you go back to a trance state and you start talking from the trance state, they say, who's the boss here? Do I have the owner on the phone? Because as soon as you go back into the program, they call you back, they wake you up. Who is on the phone? Do I have the owner on the phone? And this was before they had Zoom. They still don't operate with Zoom. In Release Technique, they still work with, I think, I don't know, WebEx or something. So they literally are on the phone. And so they're saying, am I talking to the master? Who's the boss? So they wake you up. They say, are you the boss? Who's the boss? Because if you are not the boss, the program is the boss. So it's very important that we understand we are master over matter, and matter includes the body. Then the second major step is becoming master over the mind. And when we become really masterful over mind, we're able to, and we do let go of mind and operate in the realm of omniscience, which is, you just know, you're psychic. Then we're fully aware of the infinite being that we are, and we are then ultimate happiness. We should start with the first step, consciously control matter. Whether we are aware of it or not, everyone is controlling matter all the time. Whether one wants to be a demonstrator or manifester or not, he is. Even if you say, I'm not, you are. It is impossible to not be a creator all the time. Everyone is creating every day. We are not aware of it because we just don't look at it. We have demonstrated or created everything we have or don't have. Every thought, every single thought materializes in the physical world. It's impossible to have a thought that will not materialize, except that we reverse it. If we think the opposite right after we have a thought with equal strength, we neutralize it. But any thought not reversed or neutralized will materialize in the future, if not immediately. Well, I can tell you this neutralization thing, if you go in the state of love, you will neutralize it. So if you look at your darkest fears and the things that you resist, you look at it with love, you will neutralize it. You don't have to create it anymore. And I can promise you that's really how it works. So this thing of demonstration that we're all trying so hard to accomplish, manifestation, we are doing it all the time, unconscious of the fact that we are doing it. All we need to do is consciously direct it, and then we call it manifestation. Everything that everyone has in life is a manifestation. It couldn't come into our experience had we not had a thought of it at some time prior. So, and I want to talk again about settling, yeah? So he talks about when you begin to consciously demonstrate small things, let's say you want to demonstrate all the small things like a parking lot, or, oh, I won the lottery for $100 or whatever, or somebody called me back by thought alone, you may then realize that the only reason why they are small is because you don't dare to think big. The exact same rule or principle that applies to demonstrating a penny applies to demonstrating $1 million. The mind sets the size. Anyone who can demonstrate $1 can demonstrate $1 million. Become aware of the way you are demonstrating a $1 bill and just increase it next time to a much larger amount. Take on the consciousness of the million rather than the $1 bill. Because the material world is just an out projecting of our minds into what we call the world and bodies. And when we realize that it's just an out projecting of our minds, just a picture out there that we have created, we can very easily change it, even instantly, by changing our thoughts. So what they do in the release technique, when you have very persistent thoughts that keep bugging you, what you do is you say to it, you're just a picture of my mind and I love you. You are just my picture. And I love you. So, and you can only do that by being in this state of alignment. From that state, you can say to every picture that comes in, you're a picture in my mind and I love you. You're a picture of my mind and I dissolve and evaporate you. Because we are clearing the lack of wanting and not having by being in these lower states of consciousness that are just programs. And we're going back to being a creator, being one with the void, being one with infinite possibilities, being aligned with the greater mind. So when you are noticing yourself slipping back to not having and being in lack, you have to automatically find a way to go back into this state of being. For me, it's just putting my hand on my heart. Sometimes I just have to listen to music. Sometimes I have to withdraw, you know. For my husband, I think sometimes he needs to take a walk or he needs to go to the gym. Could be different things to all of you, yeah? For some of you, it might be doing some EFT or to releasing. So this is a very important teaching. Take responsibility because everything is a decision. If you know that you're a master, then you can no longer say, I can't have it. If you are not creating it, it's not in your reality. It's not because you cannot create it, it's because you will not create it. So if something is not showing up in your reality and you've been releasing on the goal, or you think you want it, maybe there's a part of you that doesn't want it. Yeah. So this is how much power you go into when you go to these courses, and they really teach you to take responsibility and to take on the identity of a master. Yeah. And so I want you to maybe think of your goal and maybe in what ways you're trying to find the solutions in the mind. So maybe think of one situation where you're continuously finding yourself overthinking it and trying to figure it out, thinking that there's a solution there. The problem is that this mind cannot have a solution because you would have done it already if you had the solution. So the ask and release technique, you're going to the empty file cabinet to find an answer, but the file cabinet is empty. So can you now let go of trying to figure it out? It's one of the things they teach you to notice very quickly. So and I have a huge mind. Took me years to really drop this habit, but I now can discern between my mind that is in a program and the higher mind. I literally cannot work anymore from a program. My mind cannot give me ideas, even for my business planning, creative writing. If I try to go to my mind, it blocks me. So I will tell you, and I'm building this business that I have right now, and even the trading career. If I listen to my mind, it's shocking. My mind does not believe in me. My mind thinks I should stay where I am. My mind is beating me up. I swear to God, my mind is the biggest bully. What do? Do I listen to my mind? I did that for years. Now I'm not doing it anymore because, as I said, there's a big so-called financial crisis and pendulum happening now. And I will be damned if I let that pendulum determine my destiny. That is where I'm stubborn. That is where I am. I don't care what happens to the world. I am taking ownership of being a creator. And if I have to be the one person with a small group that is going to prove it, I am going to do it. So I hear the voices in my mind telling me, oh, but blah, 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 blah. Maybe you shouldn't do this. And you know what? I just release. I just open the zipper in my body and I release the feelings. And then I do it anyway. Because if I have the download that I have to do something, my mind isn't sure. My mind is there to doubt myself. My mind is there to think, oh, nobody can afford this. You know, why don't you do this instead? Oh, and then it's always never, ever making a decision. My mind is in self-doubt perpetually. I just release it. I just think, okay, I'm not even listening to the mind. I'm releasing, and then I follow the download. That's how I work. And that is when I'm in the flow. And I don't know what your recipe is in the flow, but maybe you can recognize when you're in the flow, you probably don't have this mind blocking your thoughts flow, your downloads. So, and I hope that you can see now that when you are stuck in the mind, you have to know which mind, because the stuckness of the programs of the mind, you cannot even give it more than a minute. You really have to train yourself to be so masterful that you do not sit and babysit it for like 6 hours and go to therapy, pay other people thousands of dollars to talk about this mind. There's no use, yeah? There's no use. I can tell you, with my mind, thought alone, I created $100 by thought alone. Somebody reached out to me and asked me for my bank account that I haven't heard of in a long time. And then I released on a huge amount of money, which made me financially free, and I manifested it. So I don't have doubts about the power of my mind. And if I can do it, you can do it. And I manifested things while I was having panic attacks over money. So this is why I was always very, very very faithful and loyal to this teaching. And then, of course, Dr. Joe taught us this. And then, you know, all the Bob Proctor showed me all the things about Wallace D. Wattles and, you know, Andrew Carnegie. And I thought, wow, this is really how reality works. We can be anything, but the only thing that we have to unlearn is to be in this mind, identify with it and babysit it and marry it and make love to it. No, stop it. No more making love to this mind, no more babysitting it, no more even taking it to the therapist. You don't have to take this mind to the therapist. Does this sound like a good plan, that you don't have to try and understand this mind? Yeah. And I know Indrani here has been doing the Sedona method for years, and that's also a student of Lester Levinson. So Indrani, you also understand that by default, the mind, certain states of the mind do not give any type of genius type of thinking, right? It's just like regurgitating ancestral stuff, limitations. And so when they say drop the mind, we need to find a way to access those states of body. And those of us who have done Dr. Joe work or energy healing work, yeah, for the Brennan students, is going to Hara. So Henrik here, you and I, we've done Brennan. We know how the Hara is. The Hara is very quiet. But for Dr. Joe and all the people doing more of the new meditation techniques, they call it brain and heart coherence. Yeah. But then even when you go into brain and heart coherence, you can still have this idea about the mind that it can help you. But I can tell you, when you set a goal and you listen to the mind, you are not receiving the downloads because it's blocking it. When you set a goal that you want, you will have downloads. The answers are already there. You can see it in the constellation. The answers are already there, but you are holding on to the limited contraction of who you think you are, which is the old mind or the limited mind or the programs. And this is why you are not allowing the downloads or the new answers or the new solutions to come in. And nowhere do you see it more clearly than in a constellation. So I hope that you can find a way for yourself to go into this alignment more and more, to no longer babysit the mind, yeah? And with feelings, I had many panic attacks about money because I started my own company and I was in a relationship. Two things that trigger me crazily, like this was a long distance relationship. He was in Texas. I was in the UK. It was true love. There was a lot of love there. This man was a NLP hypnosis guy. He was trying to hypnotize me out of all my states. I can tell you, maybe your boyfriend is not the right person to try and heal you. I was very resistant because I still didn't trust him. But he was a beautiful man, but I couldn't go there. I sabotaged the relationship so much that I broke up with him on his birthday. Can you imagine how much you can sabotage relationships? You try and take the one day that people should be celebrating and you break up with them on the day. So I can only say I've traveled this path for a long time and I had to really find ways to manage my body. And so, but the feelings that I had of panic, yeah. So they say, how do you handle feelings? Could be panic about a job, could be panic about money, bills, you know, your business, could be the economy or the government's, a disease, a virus, a relationship, yeah? You can express it, vent it, and be like, tell your friends, tell your therapist, write a book about it, look at all these YouTube videos about it, and talk to people about it. Woundology, I think Caroline Myss would call it. Or you suppress it, you deny it, you don't want to look at it. A lot of people like that strategy. You escape. But in the meantime, you feel, oh my God, I don't want to look at it. It doesn't exist for me. Or you can do the only thing that will help you is release it. Dissolve the mind, know that it doesn't have solutions, and release the feelings. And always, when you release the feelings, you will see that when you release the feelings, the picture will get less and less. So I want you to think about what you think about when you look at your goal. When you look at your goal, I want you to discern and take apart the picture and the feelings. Because we're not going to look at the picture, we're just going to look at the feelings. And I want you to rate the feelings from 0 to 10. And if you can, write it out. 10 level of discomfort, 10 level of fear, 8 level of desire, meaning I want it, but I don't think I can have it, or 7 level of apathy. I don't know what it is. Yeah, rate it. And now I want you to go into CAP. Find that part of you that is connected to the master, the love of the universe, the infinite self. Find time to connect to that part. When you're in that part, you open the zipper from your auric field, open the zipper, and just welcome up the feelings with love. And just allow them to leave. Just say, I love you. I love you, and it's safe to leave. I love you, and it's okay to leave. Feel the love in your heart. Releasing with love in your heart is so powerful. They don't really teach us this in the release technique, but because of the Dr. Joe trainings, I am more aware of how powerful our heart is. When you open your heart and you release, it goes much quicker. Just really don't just say, I love you, and you don't like it. No, really love the fear, really love the resistance, really love the apathy, love whatever comes up, sadness, shame, guilt. Really love it. I love you. I love you, and it's okay to leave. And I love you if you stay. And I love you if you leave. That's acceptance, right? I still love you whether you stay or leave. I love you even if you make me scared. I love you even if you beat me up. I just love you. The more and more you do it, you are mastering being connected to the infinite self, being connected to knowing who you are, and no longer letting these programs boss you around. It's very powerful, and it's so easy. When you do it in a group, it's even more fun because the coherence of the group entangles everybody. So I want you to maybe raise your hand if you feel that the feelings already reduced. Can you raise your hand? Did the feelings reduce? Just by, yeah. And now I want you to check the picture, right? Because very often when the feelings reduce, the picture will change. Can you check that? Look at the picture again. Is the picture more real or less real, less vivid? Or maybe the picture looks different now. Can you raise your hand if the picture did change because of the feelings reducing? If the feeling, maybe the picture is less vivid or more further away from you? Or if it didn't happen, we just have to release a bit more. So continue, we're going down to a 0. Let's open your heart again. And just love the feelings, allow the feelings to come up. And more. And more. I love you. I just love you. I love you. It's safe to leave. I love you. It is okay to leave. I love you if you stay. And I love you if you leave. There's no conditions to my love. I just love you because I know who I am. I love you and I recognize you for who you are. And I just love you. I'm just really feeling the love for this very difficult feeling. All feelings want to leave. It's just energy passing through. When we even call it feelings, we try to label it, but imagine it's just energy passing through and it wants to leave. It wants to go back to the void. It doesn't want to be imprisoned in this lower state of consciousness. So allow it to leave back to the void. You're being an energy healer now. You are alchemizing your consciousness to a higher state of being through your love. So if you now check in with the picture, can you see whether the picture has changed? And if you feel lighter and your picture has become less powerful or less real, can you raise your hand? Yeah. Yeah. So when we do a revision, we actually work with the pictures even. Yeah. So we change the pictures, but that is a very deep process. And sometimes we go to very old memories. So I feel that's better done in a class where people are there in a safe environment, not in a webinar. And so we will not do revision today. But one of the other methods is, and this is very much very easy as well, is you imagine that you have a very strong picture and the picture just doesn't leave, yeah? And the picture is, they're not calling me back. Oh, they are abandoning me, or they don't want to pay me, or they don't want to work with me, whatever it is, yeah? These very worrying thoughts. First thing is to know that you have to see yourself in a bubble thinking that thought. So instead of allowing this state of mind to be in your body, project it outside of you. See that see yourself thinking a thought from the limited mind, from a limited state of being that is scary or keeping you in lack. So first, disassociate the picture outside of your body. And then what you do is you see the picture outside of your body. Let's say it's on the left side of your vision. So a little bit further, maybe like a meter away. I want you to open your heart again. And go into that state of being of complete love and acceptance. And I want you to send love from your heart to that picture. And send it even more love. And see whatever you need to see that picture dissolve and evaporate with love. And send it even more love. And again, you're hypnotizing yourself to wake up. You get yourself out of the hypnosis. You are just a picture in my mind. You are just a picture in my mind, and I love you. You are a picture in my mind, and I am the boss. You are a picture in my mind, and I am the boss. And if you send it more and more love, what you'll see is that the picture starts to pixelate maybe, or it just starts to disperse. So the picture is no longer as solid. So send it more love. You can send it bombs of love. In the other webinar, I did the atomic bomb of love. You could just send it a lot of Molotov cocktails of love. Because love is truth, love is reality, love is all possibilities. And when love comes in connection with this specific picture, it cannot stay there in that old frequency. So can you please raise your hand and let me know whether sending love to the picture outside of you has changed the picture somehow? Yeah. And if it didn't work yet, just continue to do it. This is just one of the many techniques. Yeah. So what you will see is when you're doing this, because you're working so much with love, yeah, with so much out of the mind, so much with heart, just heart energy. And you're just saying a few sentences like, you are just a picture in my mind, and I am the boss. And you're just, I dissolve and evaporate you with love. I dissolve and evaporate this picture of my limited mind with love. When you take back that ownership, you will see that you have a more coherent heart and brain. Over and over again, you let these limiting beliefs get out of the way. You get out of your own way because we are stepping up to a higher level of awareness of who we really are. And you suddenly, from this state of mind, when you see yourself picturing these very scary pictures, you can see yourself in the trance, picturing states of powerlessness, states of lack, states of limitedness. Yeah. So really allow yourself to wake up from the dream of being a victim. You are the dreamer, you are the director, you are the actor. And you're one with all possibilities. So you don't have to hold on to this picture. You don't have to go lurking around with this picture, going to 100,000 ayahuasca retreats. It's not needed. Yeah. Please raise your hand if you think you know how to do this exercise. And you found it, yeah, it's very useful. I use this a lot with a lot of my pictures. A lot of the governments in the world are in my picture every day, by the way. But yeah, I can forgive myself for being still in this world. They also use the word erase the picture with love, and they don't say with love, but I like to add love because I notice that when I go to love, it's so much easier. So you can do it from the mind and do it from force. Yeah, but the power is in love. The Power versus Force book of David Hawkins. You're in power when you're in love, and you're in force in 3D when you're trying to do it from the mind. Yeah, so when you add in this opening your heart and dissolving and evaporating these pictures, you can also do it with the technique of erasing the picture. So there is a mind, there's a Silva Mind method meditation out there. I've done the Silva Mind meditation before I did Dr. Joe, because again, you know, I did a Silva Mind meditation just as I was doing the family constellations training. That was before I knew Dr. Joe. And there was a meditation there that is like the change the box meditation of Dr. Joe. The only thing they do is they ask you to see a picture, what is it, a school board, a whiteboard on the left side and a whiteboard on the right side. And the whiteboard on the left side is the old picture, the old reality, where you have a problem, you have the solution, you're lacking solutions, you have an issue that you haven't been able to resolve. So what they do is they ask you to go into this alpha state of mind, or maybe even lower, and they ask you to erase the picture. They erase the whole blackboard. It doesn't exist anymore. And then you have this other whiteboard, which is the desired state of experience or life that you want to live. Job, relationship, money, who you are. And they ask you to step into that picture. And just like in the Change the Box meditation, they say, stay in that picture all day. And when I was teaching the classes of Meeting the Lover Within in London, I had people in my class that had health problems. They were diagnosed with I don't know what, and there was no Dr. Joe then. So I gave them this meditation. I said, do this meditation 3 times a day. And they literally would come back to the class and say, my doctor doesn't know what happened, but I don't feel these symptoms anymore. But of course, we know now in hindsight what they were doing. But, you know, Silva Mind method, you know, I was just basically, I bought the course from Mind Valley. I was just basically trying to manifest and being psychic and blah, blah, blah. But I thought, wow, these people are healing themselves. And because there was no Dr. Joe, I didn't know about epigenetics or whatever. So I was like, wow, that's interesting, right? But now we know why it happened, because they were stepping out of that state of being and they were switching on other, they were creating another physiology, and they were commanding matter by stepping up into a higher frequency. So the change the box meditation is, of course, a very powerful one, but this meditation, I think, is shorter. I think it's 25 minutes. So people can easily do it like 3 times a day, especially when they have health conditions. But you can also do it for a job, anything, yeah? Even if you hate your neighbors. So when we release on a goal, we go to attachment and aversions. And when all these pictures show up, oh, I can't have it, or I'm feeling nauseous, you release it. You release it by going into love. So the next step is you also release the feelings of victimhood. So you say, I'm the boss. You are just a picture in my mind. When you do that, you start to control your mind. You start to control matter. Yeah. So this is a Silva Mind Method meditation. It's a meditation where they have 2 screens. I will find it for you. I forgot what it's called, but it's very famous. I mean, every meditation is out there on YouTube. You just need to know the right keywords. It's Silva Mind Method. I think maybe it's called 2 pictures. I think probably if you buy the Silva Mind Method, I think I bought it before with Mind Valley. It's probably somewhere in my back office, but it was on YouTube for free. And it's a very short meditation. It's a beautiful one. But what I don't like, that's me, it's the noises. I hate that from the mind, the Silva Mind. That's why it's not my favorite technique. But because it's very short, and especially for people with health issues, it can be really effective. Yeah. But I would say Dr. Joe, of course, is really, this teaching is so broad with so 500 testimonials, you know, how can we argue with that, right? So the final step of working with the goal is to release the attachment of having, of not have, you know, so to release the attachment to having the goal, to release the aversion to having the goal. But the final step is, can you allow yourself to just have it? And this is, funny enough, a lot of us will go into resistance and say, nah, my body doesn't believe it. I would like to believe it, but my body is just doesn't dare. And why is that? Is because we don't really believe we can have it. Yeah. So we want control. Whatever we believe is more true than this quantum potential is you want to be in control, meaning you want to be right about what you think. That is a very dangerous one, because in the release technique, they tell us to cancel that out by saying, can I allow myself to be, allow myself to be so smart? Can I allow myself to be not so smart and allow it to be other than it is? So often what they found is that we argue for our limitations. Sometimes when you release with people, they start defending why they can't have something. And when you do that to yourself, you start defending why you cannot create this. The sentence is, can I allow myself to not be so smart and allow it to be other than I think it is? So, but know that this is a very strong program, and it's a program of wanting control. And also you want approval, so you attach to all the times that you've been rejected or nobody got back to you, or your clients just ignore you, or whatever it is. Or of course, again, you have split intentions because there's a part of you that doesn't feel safe in this new scenario. Or you're just watching reality, the news, your colleagues, you know, the banking industry, the tech industry, the mortgage industry, you know, the inflation, deflation, blah, blah, blah. It's out of control. So whenever you have a goal and you don't allow yourself to be in the goal, you also have to release that. Yeah. So they ask you which, how from 0 to 100%, what is the percentage that you can allow yourself to have the goal? And so then you can think, well, 50%, well, you're not there yet. So release. So what is stopping you for 50% of not having your goal, although you think you can have the goal. And then a list of justifications will come up, right? And so you have to release on those things. So it's really like a method to really see that your mind is creating a lot of limitations. And this is just like constellations, this is a method of seeing how your mind is stopping you from creating what you do want. So basically what this process is, so think about having the goal. Think about you have the goal. It is happening now. Just go there. But then feel, can you really allow yourself for 100% to just have it? It's already done. Can you really for 100% feel the havingness, the doneness of the goal? And if you can't, which percentage are you not allowing yourself to be there? Could be 50%, could be 30%, 10%, doesn't matter. There's resistance. So whatever it is, it's just resistance. You don't have to write a paper about it, talk about it for 100 years. You just allow yourself to release it with love, the resistance. Welcome the resistance. That course in the release technique is called Goals and Resistance course. And it's very important that you understand how much resistance we have, even to things that we think we do have. So releasing resistance is a big training. It's really just, oh, yeah, it's resistance. I'll let it go. Just welcome it with love. Go back into your heart. Whatever percentage it is. And it might be a picture, but you know, we release the feelings. And is it wanting control? Is it wanting safety? Or wanting approval? Wanting separation? Is it one of these lacking states of being that are still blocking you from being a vibrational match? 30% resistance blocking you from being a vibrational match. It's resistance. Just let it go. I love you, and allow you to go. I love you, and more. I love you if you stay. I love you if you leave. I love you and I'm the boss. I love you and I'm the infinite creator. I love you and I want alignment with the truth of myself and my infinite being more than I want this picture of limitation to be right. I love you and I'm the boss. So see that you're with love. You're molding the pictures in your mind and you're reconditioning and alchemizing the feelings. So I didn't realize this, but I'm realizing now that this is like a self-hypnosis technique. Plus it is also an energy healing and clearing technique. And it's, of course, it's changing the quantum field. So was this helpful, this exercise? Just maybe raise your hand, just looking at the resistance to having your goal, just as a check. Yeah, 30% resistance, 20%, doesn't matter, right? Still you have some energy of, no, it's not possible. And your mind is still saying, or your body isn't there, yeah? And it's helpful to just check and to release it because we want to be free, yeah? The whole method here, and also Dr. Joe and everybody else, they just want us to be free. They use different terminologies, but it's all about freedom. Yeah, wholeness is freedom. Wholeness is all-knowingness. You're connected to all possibilities. You're free. Yeah. So the other one is even more important. This is a bit heavier one because your body might feel, oh no, and it's acceptance of not having the goal. Yeah. And we also release on that. So we release on both sides. I allow myself to have it. Oh, my body doesn't believe it. I allow myself to not have it. And then you think, oh, it's not in your stomach. But I want it so much. I need it so much. Again, you're showing yourself how much feelings of lack and programs are running there. So when you think about yourself, am I 100% okay in acceptance? Can I accept that I will not have the goal like I was when I was in Amsterdam, feeling impatient, feeling, I need to make it happen. Why are they not calling me back? Can you allow yourself to completely let go and still be in love and alignment and know and deep trust? Can you allow your life to be surrendered? Surrender your life, surrender your job, surrender your career, surrender your relationships, surrender that to source, to the infinite field of love. So if you're feeling, let's say 50% or even 80%, because there might be more resistance to not having it, you just do it. So some people say, I cannot go there. My body doesn't want to go there. Well, you're the master. You go there, because all these lacking safety feelings, you cannot suppress them. Don't suppress them. Don't try and hide and escape from them. Just release them. You're going to free yourself. The more and more we letting go of these limiting feelings, the more and more we're going to free ourselves. So maybe your body is feeling like a victim. It says, I have no choice. I cannot even go there. And I can tell you, I've been releasing with people that refuse to be here. They said, but why would I want to go there? I said, because you're still creating from lack. You still have a Pandora's box or a closet with a lot of fear that you're not looking at. We're just clearing it out. You know, this is like you have to sell your house and new people are going to come into your house. So what do you have in all the closets? Just open them all up and clean them out. Yeah. So, so it doesn't feel bad. It doesn't matter whether you feel nauseous, whether your body goes into complete contraction, or your mind is trying to tell you, no, 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 no. You become the master and you let go of needing this job. You really let go. This is the final step. And whenever we have discussions about, yeah, when you're detached, when I'm detached, I can manifest so quickly. Most people are not willing to go here. And this is the final step, I would say. You have to allow yourself to not have it and still trust life and still train yourself to be okay with it. Still be happy when you are imagining what you don't want is happening. If you can make peace with that, you have no resistance to even not having the job, or let's say not having money to pay the bills. When you do that, when you can love all the nightmare scenarios, when you can love them fully, and sometimes it's hard to go there. This is why when you work with somebody that can really take you there and you do it with a group that supports you, it's really powerful, because we're all in the same human domain. All of us have these feelings. I don't want to go there, but you still go there with courage, and then you will see that it dissolves. It dissolves with love. And it doesn't have to bug you anymore. Does this last step make sense? Because a lot of the law of attraction teachings, they don't really teach you to go here. Especially Abraham doesn't really go there, yeah? But the release technique goes there. And I will tell you, I always try to find all the manifestations of people that go to Abraham, but it's way less people with testimonies for the Abraham teachings than for the release technique. So what did I pay all the money for? I went to the release technique, yeah? So I trained there for over 10 years, and I'm really grateful I did. So basically there are 4 steps. And if you look at how I manifested my job and how people are manifesting. So to raise your level of consciousness. So the 4 steps is you clear. Yeah. Clearing is important, and you clear in the moment, and it can be as easy as connecting to your heart. And you release as a new habit to clear feelings. And you do that all the time. And then you recondition your body and mind all the time. Plus you do the playfulness. You get a joyful accountability process in a closed group. I can show you the forum for that. And then you just, you really start to receive, download synchronicities. And that is how you're going to work with this process that I designed. We'll do questions later, Jeremy. I just want to finish this, if that's okay. Yeah. So again, if you're not if you're not manifesting, it's a decision. You're so powerful. Everything is a decision. If you're not manifesting it, it's because you don't want to. Yeah, that's a very powerful statement to make. And so there's no settling here. There is no powerless here. There is just master the technique and apply it. So I created a 6-week program, but I realized that some people might only need 1 week. Some people might be in it for 1 week and then boom, they manifested. So I created a game where there's optimum flexibility. But if you really want to be masterful in learning how to work with goals and resistance, I would advise 6 weeks, because I think that's a good time to get used to recondition your mind and body, to think differently, to act differently, and to see the demonstrations in the group and how quickly you can shift. You can come for 1 week, you can come for 4 weeks, you can come for 6 weeks, you can come for 2 weeks. What I've seen is the people that really want what they want and they don't doubt themselves, they manifest very quickly. As I said, they have 1 session with me, they manifest. Or they do this PDF with me, they manifest. If you're not there, maybe there are certain things that your soul wants to learn. This could be the program. So I thought of a pricing that would be a no-brainer for everybody. And so I thought of, and this is not the creation is already done money game. This is just really teaching you how to release by yourself, because this is a very big teaching. You don't need other people. You can do this by yourself. So this program is per week 100 euros. And for that, you get 3 sessions of 2 hours in the group. And dependent on who are in the group, we make it work for everybody. And apart from being in the group, you also need to have you choose your joyful accountability to do something for 30 minutes a day where you are connecting to the vision of your quantum potential. So I have this, so I have 6 weeks of programs here, and I've run these programs many, many times. But this is a new one I created about, I love my ideal job so much, game. And so, so you choose what to do, but I give you inspiration, and everybody who is in the game will have to write 5 days a week as accountability, what they've been doing, what they found easy, or just do the exercise that I created. Yeah. So for instance, this exercise is, you know, this is what I used to do. This is my favorite exercise, by the way, writing about how it already happened and all the crazy things that I'm doing. I don't know why this is so slow, but there's lots of content here. Yeah, this is a bit freezing up. So every week you have 5 classes. And so basically there's content, but it's not too much. So we're not overburdening you. So you could clear, you could just write, I was clearing today. I watched the lesson, but I'm clearing today because I feel that that is most beneficial. Or you could say, I feel pretty cleared about this thing. So now I'm connecting to the new quantum potential. I'm just giving thanks for whatever is coming into my life. And I'm giving thanks for 15 minutes, for 30 minutes. Yeah, this is frozen. I don't know why. But anyways, every day there's a class and a lesson and a group that is reporting, writing, you know, 3, you could upload a video. I don't know what you want to do. But what I found in the games that I run is that people working on the same goal is very motivational. And instead of not wanting to write there, people actually want to share. They want to share, hey, look at what happened. I did this. And really starting to master the programs, like really saying, I can do this, I can do this. So I think my computer is frozen. So I want to say, what are we going to do in those 6 weeks? So we're going to do the 4 steps, clearing. You're going to be a master. You're going to do it in group. We're going to maybe teach you how to release with somebody else. If we have time and we need to, we might even do the releasing in combination with constellations, depends on the group. You're going to learn how to recondition your body. You're going to have accountability of connection to the new quantum potential. Be more specific about what you're creating so that you really know that you're not settling. You can create whatever you want. And you're just going to allow yourself to receive the downloads and to take action from that specific mindset. So, and as a very special thing, because I care about people manifesting jobs and getting out of economic fear, if you commit to 6 weeks, so that's 600 euros, and you can pay per week, you know, I don't care. You can pay per week if you're in a cash issue. You know, you can, for the 6 weeks, people, they can get a one free 90 minutes private session with me, because you could have an issue that might be a little bit daunting, where maybe a very painful memory comes up. And then we need to do the revision. We need to literally go through the traumatic event and completely rewrite it. Yeah. And that is really the fast EFT training that I've been to. And really that is, you know, maybe you don't even want the group to know about it. And that's fine. So for the people who think, I think I need that, you know, so normally a session with me is 150 euros per hour. So if you go for the 6 weeks, you're almost getting that, you know, you're also almost canceling it out, right? So, and if you want more sessions, you can book that with me as well. I can give a discounted rate if you want more private sessions, because I think I can really help people with manifesting their jobs. So what are we going to clear on? 6-week course. We're going to catch the programs of the mind immediately. You're going to learn how to connect to the higher mind or knowingness, how to discern, how to discriminate between the two. Stop your trance states and really master this lesson. Never get attached to the limitations and the stories of the mind. Never be bossed around by the mind anymore. This is the big gift you're giving yourself. You're going to release feelings of lack and separation, the states of survival, the resistance to the known or the unknown, and you're going to master yourself, to train yourself to be in camp, and you're going to be accountable for it. And you're going to have to do playful exercises. It could be journaling. It could be the placemat process. It could be gratitude in advance. It could be imagining things. Yeah. So I play games. Before I manifested my husband, I was playing games with my business partner where we were texting each other about having lunch with our husbands. I was super single then, but I was scripting for when I was in the dark night of the soul for 3 or 6 months. And this was in 2020 before I met him. While I was healing myself, I knew that I had to create a new picture, and I was scripting even though I was feeling all this heartbreak. So I can say, you know, while we are clearing and healing, we still need to create, and it can come so quick into your life. You will be flabbergasted. And when I talk about accountability, we're talking about joyful accountability. It is so much fun to read about the other people, you know, manifesting things and synchronicities. So we're getting a lot of different things in the game. It's 6 weeks or 4 weeks or 1 week, depending on what you want. Hopefully all of you get it in 1 week, right? But if you're not getting it 1 week, you have the group to support you to go through it for another week until, you know, you really master how to do this. So this is not for people that don't want to take responsibility, that love to argue for their limitations, or that want to stick to the 3D world. Yeah. If you don't believe in quantum potentials, quantum creation, or infinite possibilities, this is not the game for you. It's not the game for you when you really love the limitations of yourself, or you have hidden gains for not changing. You have, you know, you basically just want to go to the courses, but you don't actually want to do it. Those people should not apply. If you really believe your mind will figure it out, you don't even understand the difference between the programs of the mind and infinite knowingness, then maybe that this is also not a game for you. And if you don't want to believe in yourself, no matter what you do, because for whatever reason, this is also not the game to be in. And the professional victims and complainers, they should also not apply. Who is it for? You are committed to know the power of yourself. You are sick of the excuses that are holding you back. You're freeing yourself from bondage to programs. You believe and you know that there's quantum creation and infinite potentials. You just see all these other people doing it. Now you want to crack the code yourself. You want to learn how to bend time and space. And I have many examples of how I bend time and space with impossible goals. And I do it with a very lighthearted way because I now know this is how it works. Imagine that you can go to that space where you have so many small manifestations that you are no longer doubting the big manifestations. That is a big superpower that you can commit to. And you really want to get out of the small mind. You really want to connect to the greater mind. Yeah. So that is what I can offer you. If you are wondering, is this right for me? How long should I commit? You know, just book a 30-minute call for me, and then we can take it from there. So I'm going to stop the recording, and then you can ask questions if that's okay. Thank you for being here.